Welcome back. You're locked on to the SABC News channel. Well, the Northern Cape is on a drive to improve the education system in the province. Premier Dr. Zamani Saul wants the province to return to the glory days of top matriculation results. Efforts to change this situation include extended matric camps and the training of teachers. Over 200 science and mathematics teachers are now being trained. Let's take a closer look. Well, this Educate teaching program will help in lesson preparation and the understanding of CAPS-aligned content. Teachers were supplied with laptops and tablets loaded with the relevant subject content. Now, these teachers are indeed excited about the new teaching methods. The department says they are going to include the private sector to ensure that this initiative is indeed financially viable. Well, we've just concluded National Science Week, an annual event aimed to exhibit and communicate awareness in science. It's an initiative of the Department of Science and Technology and a countrywide celebration of science involving various stakeholders. The Northern Cape province is on a drive now to improve the education system in its province. Over 200 science and mathematics teachers are now being trained. The training sessions aim to improve lesson presentation and understanding. Professor Percy Sepeng is the head of Math, Science and Business from Tshwane University of Technology. He joins us now from our Pretoria studios. Good afternoon, Prof, and thank you so much for your time on the SABC News Desk.
Good afternoon, and then thank you very much for having me.
Professor, before we just get into it, can you just tell us why a subject like mathematics is so crucial, not just as one of the key gateway subjects in our curriculums right now, but also as a life skill?
Yeah, I think first of all, let me also take this opportunity to congratulate and commend the Basic Education Department for really organizing this annual event, which in a way raises awareness in terms of the importance of mathematics. Not only, like you said, as a gateway subject, but then also as a critical subject in terms of assisting the country in realizing mathematical literacy levels, between or amongst the citizens in the country. But then also to say that mathematics plays a major role in terms of career projections or trajectory of our little ones from school. Mathematics is also very important in terms of assisting the country in terms of realizing its millennium goals, but then also in terms of the strategic elements of the National Development Plan. We also are responsible in making sure that each and every learner or citizen in South Africa is one way or the other mathematically literate. But then also to say that mathematics is one of the key strategic subjects in the country, but then also globally. It will assist us in terms of trying to instill the love of mathematics, not only in higher education sector, but then also in basic education sector. And then that is why the country needs to also embark upon increasing all the initiatives as far as making mathematics popular amongst its citizens.
On the note, Professor, of basic education and instilling a love or inculcating a love for mathematics and science at that age already, it actually can start much earlier than that. We see a lot of focus and attention and budget being focused on early childhood development right now. I want to ask you, at what age can a child start learning mathematics?
Yeah, I think if we see the trends and the pattern that happens elsewhere in the world, you'll see that countries like Singapore, China, and maybe Korea, they start at a very, very early age. And that is why I think during the SONA this year, the president emphasized the issue and the importance of, taking seriously what we call early childhood development, where kids from age 4 maybe to 6 should be introduced in one way or the other in terms of numeracy, where they will be prepared in terms of beginning to embark on this subject, mathematics. So I think in South Africa we're starting a bit late. If you would maybe remember grade R learners, they would start maybe at the age 7. or 6, the earliest. And I think in terms of what research demonstrates to us, this can be done at an earlier stage, so that the emphasis should not be only put on, the exit schooling or basic schooling grades, such as grade 12. But I think Department of Basic Education now realizes that the emphasis must be put, from age 4, where we need to also train our specialist numeracy teachers, because ECD should not be any place now where our learners or our kids will be playing the whole day. We need to emphasize issues of literacy and numeracy at that age.
Prof, why is South Africa still struggling with a subject like mathematics at this point? I mean, we still see so many learners grapple with the subject at classroom level already, and we see it manifest in the matriculation results each year.
Yeah, I think the empirical evidence assists us in terms of understanding what the problems are. But then to note, South Africa is a heavily unequal countries embedded with inequalities. Our economy is not growing currently. And then in a way, this will definitely impact on the success in terms of the outcomes or achieving the outcomes as far as mathematics is concerned. Now, South Africa is currently struggling, and I think we're still going to struggle if we don't really have policy shift. And by policy shift, I mean that, for an example, research also, confirms and demonstrates that learners who learn mathematics and other technical subjects in the language that they speak at home, they tend to have a likelihood of succeeding in terms of their academic performance. So one way of doing that is that we need to have properly trained mathematics teachers in schools. And then to note, currently, in terms of the statistics, you'll find that majority of our public high schools, teachers who teach mathematics are either underqualified or not qualified. So I think a drive needs to be done in terms of what you call continuing professional teacher development of these teachers with shortcomings in terms of developing their content knowledge. But then also I think we need to have a way of controlling what we call technical school system, where we need to maybe convert majority of our schools into science schools, so that we can attract more kids into doing pure mathematics. But then also to say that if we have an awareness where we have a model that may be viewed as one specialist mathematics per school in rural areas, I think we will be beginning to realize and acknowledge the impact that having somebody who is highly qualified in mathematics can do in terms of influencing positive learner academic performance. But then also to say that maybe we need to also start to drive in terms of reviewing the notion of what we call the learning. I mean, the language that we use for instruction, or the language of learning and teaching, to say, why can't we then have resources like textbooks that perhaps are written in learners' languages, but then also to have a proper monitoring and evaluation system where we can evaluate the quality of teaching and learning in our schools. But then also, people like us, teacher educators from or academics from universities, we need to start to begin to ask ourselves very difficult questions in terms of, do we have initial teacher education curriculum that really responds to the needs of the country? And then some commentators and educational analysts, their views are that the curriculum is not at a stage where we're producing high quality teachers. But then also to say that we have lost quite a number of mathematics teachers into private sector.
Private sector, yes.
So I think the department and the minister should also look in terms of maybe raising the benefits and remuneration of our maths teachers.
Prof, just on the note of that multilingual approach to teaching and learning mathematics, all right, will learners absorb mathematical concepts more effectively if they are taught the maths in their home language or first language rather than just English? Because I've had maths teachers say to me that they are a little bit hesitant about tackling more complex mathematical problems with the children because the kids just don't have the competency in English.
Yeah, I think you're asking a very, very critical question. And one of the issues in terms of educational transformation that I always, advocate is the issue of, trying to be, honest with ourselves. Mathematics is a language, and it's a universal language, and it is not English language. Yes. So once we say that learners may struggle in terms of understanding the concepts, of mathematics taught in their language, I think that's something that really will put us backward. Because once you unpack and provide what you call conceptual understanding of mathematics or any other technical science subject, you will be using learners' home languages to explain these concepts, but then you're not throwing away what we call mathematical language. So I think for me, we need to really, be influenced and guided by empirical evidence in terms of the solid literature that we have that obviously and repeatedly demonstrate that, if a learner at school has a very strong, grasp of their home language, they have a highly likelihood of, doing well in these technical subjects. But then also we need to have a political will from the ministry and the basic education sector to say all the specialists, mathematicians, mathematics educationists, we need to start to come together and have a discussion in terms of how can we then convert, but then also produce, high quality materials that will obviously, assist in terms of making mathematics, accessible in schools.
Professor Percy Sepeng, Head of Math, Science and Business from the Tshwane University of Technology. It's been lovely chatting to you this afternoon. Thanks once again.